IELTS Speaking Test. Practical tips. Hello there, my name is Ben Worthington. In this video, we're going to focus on the IELTS Speaking Test. I'm going to give you some tips for each part of the exam. I'm going to try and get it done in about 5 minutes, and most of the information will be from audio. It won't be coming in front of you in the screen. Okay, some of it will, but most of it will be audio. So pay attention. And that in itself was a tip, because as one really good teacher once said, that the speaking test is a listening test, and the writing test is a reading test. And I think what they wanted to say there was that it's important to listen or to study the question to make sure you're going to answer the right answer. So I remember when I was a teacher, and I used to say at the end of the lesson, I'd say, okay, Javier, would you want the class, do you want the class on Tuesday or on Thursday? And the student would say, yes. And I was like, no, Tuesday or Thursday? Yes, that's fine. And that's the type of errors we want to avoid. So let's jump into this. So practice in private, and don't just practice your standard answers, although these are useful. But here, I'll give you a really good tip. For part one, what you want to do is get used to and get into the habit of giving solid answers for your replies. And when I mean solid answers, I mean answers that you thought about, because these questions, you're going to hear them all the time. And these questions might be like, oh, tell me about where you're from, or why are you taking the IELTS test? Tell me where you live, or are you a student or are you working? And in these answers, you can practice to be really good and give really good quality answers. For example, if you say, I'm from the north of England, that's pretty terrible. What you could say is, I'm from the north of England. This is where the Industrial Revolution originally started. It's a gloomy place, weather-wise, but the people are super friendly. Yeah, that's 1,000,000 times better. So practice giving rich answers to mundane and standard questions. Next one, practice with a mirror so you can see yourself. And here is another tip, posture. Improve your posture. Your head high, your back straight, you'll increase your delivery, you'll sound more confident, and you will look more confident as well. Practice with an audience, that's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. Next one, pronunciation, stress, and intonation. Okay, here, pronunciation, stress, intonation, and fluency are really important. I'll give you a tip for each one, but it just reminded me of the importance of intonation, because I'll just tell you a quick story and then we'll carry on. But there was a woman on listening to the radio, an elderly woman listening to the radio, and she heard about a car traveling down the motorway in the wrong direction. And she rang her husband because she knew her husband was out driving. And anyway, I'll tell you the rest of the story at the end of the video. But could you see how I changed my intonation for that story to make it sound more interesting? And here's a super tip for your exam. When you're asking a question, your intonation always goes up at the end, like that. And when you are delivering like an affirmative answer and you want to communicate that you're solid and your answer is rock solid and that you're trustworthy and there's no doubt in your mind, then the intonation goes down at the end of the sentence. So those are two things you want to bear in mind when you're talking. Fluency. How do you improve your fluency? Good question. Fluency, the best tip, and it's the easiest tip and it's the most economical tip, is you mimic. You go to the BBC or you find some native English speakers and you copy how they speak. You get the transcript and you read it, you listen, and then you read it exactly the same way and you copy them. And if you do this regularly, you'll improve your vocabulary, you'll improve your intonation, you'll improve everything. So definitely do that. Posture, facial expressions, we mentioned previously. Posture's definitely a massive thing to work on, and you'll see some big improvements when you improve your posture. Now, when you're practicing with an audience, of course, you want to be aware of your appearance. When you're going to the IELTS exam, you don't want to be dressed as a hipster. I mean, like what I'm trying to say is that you want to be dressed formally, okay? You don't want to be going in there with like the trendiest clothes, just dressed formal, as though it was like a job interview. Maybe not as formal, but you don't want to be going in there super scruffy, or nor do you want to be going in there looking like, you know, you've just come out of Cosmopolitan magazine or whatever. So those that's really important. Now, as I said before, pronunciation, stress and intonation and fluency. We mentioned that before, and I'll tell you the end of the story with the motorway in about 20 seconds. The other thing I want to mention for part 2, we have the bullet points in front of us. We've got that card. Follow that card. That's the structure of your exam. Okay? Work through each point. Talk about 2 sentences, a minute and a half for each point. That will be enough. And also, if you can, try and include the 3 tenses, the past, the present, and the future. And if you need to tell a little story, or if you see the opportunity to tell a little story, that would be perfect, okay? And you can just put in the beginning, the middle, and the end, the past, the present, and the future, okay? And if you want a very easy to follow structure for your IELTS exam, then you can go over to sentenceguide.com, and at sentenceguide.com there is a speaking confidence course that helps you to improve your confidence and improve your fluency. Okay, and if you've got any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask or leave a comment. The final thing I want to say, the elderly woman was at home and she was listening to the radio and she heard that there's a crazy car driving the wrong way down the motorway. So she knew her husband was out driving, so she rang him and she said, "Hey, dear, please be careful. There's a crazy person on the motorway driving down the wrong way." And he replied, there's not just one, there's hundreds of them. Okay, have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. Go over to IELTSPodcast.com if you want to get some more tips, some more advice, or if you're in a real rush, go to sentenceguide.com, and there you can get courses to help you with the writing, with the speaking, with the reading. Have a great day.